In Rivers State, Nigeria, the House of Assembly has confirmed 5 of Governor Siminalayi Fubara's commissioner nominees while rejecting 4 others. The decision follows hours of intense scrutiny, with lawmakers citing poor performance and unresolved petition against some candidates. This remark marks a crucial step in rebuilding the state's executive council after months of political upheaval and the lifting of emergency rule. Analysts say the outcome reflects both the governor's push to consolidate his administration and the Assembly's determination to assert its oversight role in the oil-rich state. Now, the question remains, will these confirmations be enough to stabilize Rivers politics, or do the rejections signal deeper divisions still to come? Well, joining me, of course, to discuss this at this time is Ogbonna Nwuke. He's a former member of the House of Representatives. He joins virtually from Port Harcourt. Of course, I also have Henry Ekine. He's a constitutional lawyer. He joins also virtually from Port Harcourt. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me, and good evening.
All right, let me start with you, Barrister Ekine. Permit me to read a part of what the Speaker of the House did say after that intense scrutiny in terms of nominees from the governor, and the reason why they rejected the 4 nominees. He said, "Distinguished colleagues, we have 9 nominees forwarded to this assembly by the governor. At the end of the screening exercise, the House has confirmed 5 of them, and 4 of them, the House has chosen to take a deep breath given their poor performance and controversies either around their documents, and they have not been able to show this August Assembly that they are indeed prepared to serve Rivers State, or that they are able. And we feel that they are not square pegs in square holes for the offices that they intend to occupy in the Rivers State Executive Council." Well, end of quote. I would like your reaction, Barrister, to what the Speaker of the House said as reason for rejecting this nominee. Do you see here a situation of performance or politics, given the background at stake here?
Oh, okay, thank you. I quickly will say that I do not think that is quite the case of performance, because I would wonder what parameter and then the basis to adjudge their performance to even determine whether they're going to be round pegs in round holes and then square pegs in square holes. Because
one of the reasons they gave is, I mean, part of those that were rejected includes a professor. One of the reasons given is that there are controversies around them.
Yes, I get that. So I was saying that I do not think that at this stage it will be appropriate to determine whether they are going to be square pegs and square holes and round pegs and round holes, because the nomination did not even indicate the likely portfolio they are going to really serve in to even be able to appropriately determine whether they have the competence, the expertise, and the capacity to fill in those positions. At best, it's the general capacity to provide administrative direction as commissioners, as political heads in their respective ministries. So if it is that, then I wonder, I was watching the proceedings, I wonder where the questions were directed to be able to elicit that kind of judgment. But then again, yes, when a legislature invites nominees for appointment into the offices of commissioner, it's required that some documentation will be done. And if there are discrepancies, significant discrepancies in those documentations, it could lead to a stand down of that confirmation hearing, and then probably to require the nominee to go effect those changes or correct those errors where they are such that could be tolerated. But where, again, it's so fundamental, those discrepancies, then it may also indeed cause the confirmation of that nominee as reported in this case. But one will quickly ask the question, what are those discrepancies? Let's take a case of one of those who was responding to a supposed mutilation, or so to speak, on the birth certificate that was signed and issued in 1973, when he said he was born in 1972. And of course, there is some argument of consistency in that birth date. So I wonder how that could justify the refusal to confirm that nominee for the purpose of serving as a commissioner. If the said nominee has the expertise and the competence and professionalism to be able to perform in that office. That's one. Then again, whether it's also justifiable for a nominee for appointment to the office of commissioner to be refused to be confirmed by reason of some, if you like, or said petitions by some unnamed individuals, because on the floor of the House, those petitioners were not named. The substance of the petition were not made public to us, and I'm not sure also even known to the nominee himself, because by the proceedings we watched, reference was made to a certain number of petitions, but the content of the petition wasn't made public. I'm not sure also told the petitioner. And fundamentally, I'm not sure also that an opportunity was given to the nominee to respond to that allegation contained in those petitions. And that's a fundamental issue.
I would like to come in here. I mean, I like how you, of course, have gotten into some of the reasons given. I would like that graphics to still stay on the screen at the reasons given why some of the nominees, were rejected. One of which is, I think, that of Mr. Tamuno. The reason for his decline, that's Tamuno Williams. Remarks on Rivers' political crisis. I mean, one would expect that in a democracy. Yes, to a very large extent, that there should be some level of freedom of expression. Could this be enough reason to want to sort of decline, one's ability to serve the state? Did you get my question, Barrister Ekine? Okay, I understand that we, of course, have lost connection with him.
No, not at all.
Yes, okay, it's great to have you back.
I think it's quite unfortunate. Yes, I think it's quite unfortunate for the legislature to lean on that kind of weak ground that appears to me as political vendetta for people who have expressed.
We seem to have a bit of connectivity issues. Can you hear me, Barrister?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So that's for I have a personal view, for instance, in my personal assessment of the performance of the 10th Assembly of the Rivers State House of Assembly, that indeed, unfortunately, this assembly, by my assessment, is the worst since the history of or the creation of the Rivers State House of Assembly. And my consideration is factual. How do you assess a legislature? The primary responsibility of a legislature is lawmaking, and then you will be right to assess a legislature they have made, how many laws they have made, the quality of the laws they have made, how the laws have addressed the challenges in society. Unfortunately, since June really, 2023, this House of Assembly has hardly enacted any new law, to the best of my knowledge. I stay in Rivers State, I follow their proceedings. In the beginning of the crisis in 2023, attempts were made to amend certain legislations, and those were political legislations, political considerations. The Rivers State Local Government Law, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission Law. So if I make that criticism, so does it mean today, if I'm to appear before the Rivers State House of Assembly for confirmation for any appointment, you will say because I held a view that criticized the House of Assembly, so my nomination will be turned down? That's unfortunate. It's political vendetta, and it's also again an indication of really abysmal performance of that legislature. So again, like I said, one of those reasons that have come out from the media is that I was talking about the petition. You never gave an opportunity to the nominee to respond to these petitions. There was never a panel that was constituted, because I asked the question to the correspondent of the Rivers State House of Assembly. When was actually this nomination transmitted to the House of Assembly? Just about a week ago. So when did these petitions come in? Probably a couple of days ago. have you considered constituting a panel, inviting the nominee before the screening to respond to this petition? The definite answer is no. So, and that's a constitutional issue, which is a violation of the fundamental right to fair hearing of that nominee. And that's unfortunate for a legislature, a House of Assembly that is established to make laws, to even enforce and protect the rights of citizens, make reasonable laws in a democratic society to uphold the rule of law. And then here, the House has actually fallen short and, of that responsibility, because the House itself has violated the right of the citizen, not giving him fair hearing. You're referencing that the citizen has certain petitions. And the question by the spokesperson of the House was directed with respect to personal actions. How have those issues, or how are those issues actually going to define or determine the competence of the nominee to serve, whether it has personal litigation or not?
But Barrister Ekine, we'll definitely come back to this. We need to go on our first break. Definitely when we return, we'll broaden the conversation to look at what the implication of this might portend for the political climate of Rivers State, and maybe to a very large extent what it also reflects. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for joining us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television, and of course joining the conversation right now is Ogbonna Nwuke. Is a former member of the House of Representatives. He joins virtually from Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining the conversation, sir.
Thank you.
All right. I still have, of course, with us at this time, Henry Ekine. Is a constitutional lawyer. He also joins from Rivers State. Let me come to you, Honorable. Your reaction as regards what played out today on the floor of the State House, where some members of those nominated for role within the governor's cabinet were rejected, and the reasons for their rejection. Part of it had to do with some things one of them did say as regards the politics in the state. Some had to do with documentation, amongst a list of other issues. In 30 seconds, your reaction with what we saw on the floor of the State House today as regards the scrutiny of these nominees. How did it play out for you?
Thankful and grateful to God that the end of governance paralysis is here. This is the first major encounter between the executive arm and the legislative arm. It can only get better. I also sat by my TV. I saw the House get into action when it came to screening the nominees. And the fact we need to put that on record, that is not all the time that stuff like this happens. But it is true that some people may attend screening and I may never make it. And so that should be taken notice of. Beyond that, I think that I think the legislature, from what we saw, tried to do a clean job of its assignment. It just didn't do the usual take a bow and go talk. People were asked questions, and it shows, I must say, that the House did its homework. But it also shows that perhaps not on the side of those who were coming for screening, on the side of those who stand in for screening, there may be some complacency, and that's the truth. Frankly, it's strange that somebody is coming to screening and not even armed with a task clearance, and it would appear before lawmakers who made comments like, I've not been working and stuff like that. When there are rules of engagement, it means they were not properly guided. It means they just came there and they got what they saw when they came before an assembly that was prepared. So, that's like, for me, I think that all the time that we've spoken about the peace, all the time that we imagined that peace is here, it was the first moment, after 18 months of fighting or infighting, when members of the legislative arm responded to a request from the executive arm. When the executive arm ordered something to the legislative arm, and the legislative arm. So it means it can, of course, there are some rough edges which must be trimmed, and hopefully, going forward, what has been established is that both arms of government,
all right,
in the interest of labour, who can work together.
All right, I'll pick up from the last line you said. Both arms of government, that's the legislative and the executive within the state, can work together. And that would take me back to what Nigerians did witness months ago. The state, will I call it cold political war between the executive and the legislative in the state. The president recently did even have to interfere. And peace and stability seem to be restored. But, I mean, looking at what we are seeing playing out recently, and I'm coming back to you now, Barrister, would you say convincingly that all is now well between the executive and the legislature?
I think drawing from what one is perceiving, it doesn't appear that clear to me, and not just me, to neutral analysts really here. We haven't seen anything clearly showing the level of synergy and cooperation that we would expect between the two levels of the two organs of government to say truly and truly that peace has come. This appears to me the first of legislative activity that is coming on the premise of a communication from the executive. And I recall that 2 days ago, the House of Assembly stood down, or rather held back, this confirmation exercise when it was expected to commence, because two of the nominees were yet to provide or show their documents. And then the discussions that actually got on here in Rivers State was whether there were matters behind the scene, still behind the veil. I also made reference that the House of Assembly could have proceeded with those who had done their documentations without necessarily waiting for those who were yet to bring their documents, because the confirmation wasn't going to be done collectively. It wasn't a joint confirmation, but severally. But today we have seen them come on, and then as many as 5 of the nominees of the governor, because we believe that before the governor would have put this name together and then communicated these names to the House of Assembly, he would have considered also some of these issues that the House of Assembly had raised. That is not to say the House of Assembly should have just in form of habitual obedience, without questioning, accept those 9 nominees expressly. It is okay, it's a good thing that the House of Assembly would scrutinize the nominees. But what we are analyzing here is the reasons for refusing to confirm them. It doesn't seem to many here that those reasons were reasonable and justified. And so it's probably eliciting some suspicion of behind the veil, kind of political unsettled matters, perhaps. We do not know who those 4 individuals really are.
All right.
But whoever they are, for me, there may be some unsettled political maneuverings behind the veil, except until it's proven otherwise.
All right, thank you.
Those reasons advanced that you're showing on the screen are actually not justifiable at all.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister. Honorable, before we wrap up the conversation, I'm coming straight to you right now. In the coming weeks or days, do you see a situation whereby maybe Mr. Governor might contest the decision of the House? And how much of an impact do you think this might have, if at all, on the politics of the state?
What I see is there is a saying that says try again. I think we're going to have a smooth pick-up. Nobody would have imagined this, that an assembly which has been up in arms that could prepare to perform its duties, and that the executive arm, which has been knocking on the door, would approach the legislature. And so we need to thank the president, first of all, for what he has done and bringing all the parties together. And then we need to thank all the parties, too, because they've shown that Rivers themselves far away their individual disagreement. And so I expect that what is normal, the additional information coming from the executive arm, that they will try and reach out again to the legislature. That if they want to sustain the list, or they have a chance to represent new states. This is what I'm saying. I think that
all right.
Going forward, I just want to make one suggestion. I think there'll be need for there to be a liaison officer, some special advisor who liaises between the assembly and the executive arm. Because some of these differences would have been noted earlier enough if they were advance warning signals, and then somehow acting together would have lead to behind the scene.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable. I mean, it's been great having this conversation with you. Ogbonna Nwuke is a former member of the House of Representatives. Is joining virtually from Port Harcourt. And also, Barrister Henry Ekine is a constitutional lawyer joining from Rivers State. Gentlemen, thank you once again for your time.